We have Optitex. Ooh, my lighting's going crazy. We all know that 3D development tools can accelerate these workflows and especially quick garment design. So James McDermott from Optitex EMEA, fashion manager, will take it further today, teaching us how to work smarter and faster and with more optimized workflows from start to finish, impacting sustainability efforts and efficiency. I cannot speak anymore. James, take it away.
All right, well, thank you very much, Janice, for the introduction. And thank you very much for having me join this amazing event. And yeah, hello, everyone. Thank you for joining my segment today. My name is James, and I, as Janice says, am the Optitex EMEA Fashion Manager. And today I am going to be discussing one of the biggest narratives in the 3D fashion space at the minute, which is, of course, the divide between the art and the science of the 3D landscape. So essentially what we're talking about here are the two main use cases of 3D. Now, whether you are just starting off on your 3D journey or if you're halfway through, absolutely everyone should have a strong understanding of the difference, because whichever use case is more aligned with your 3D objective is ultimately going to determine what 3D product you should be using. So before we get into that, just some quick introductions. For those of you who don't know Optitex, for over 3 decades now, we have been supporting the fashion industry with their digital transformation journeys. We do this by providing a range of solutions, such as our iconic 2D pattern making and grading software, our 2D to 3D simulation for digital prototyping and virtual fitting, and of course, our pre-production tools, which ensure our customers are getting the highest possible efficiency from their materials. Now, over the decades, we have amassed over 8,000 customers. Some examples being Nike and Rafa as brands, retailers, ASOS, Marks and Spencers, and some big suppliers such as Allison Hayes and Carmel. So just showing you that we do cater for the entire supply chain. So back to the topic at hand, we are looking at the two main use cases of 3D. Firstly, we have the art. Now, this is where you are using 3D in order to portray the beauty and the design of your vision. And with the science, this is where you are using technically accurate patterns and simulating them onto avatars, where this is where you are actually doing the actual development of the product. So with the art, this is generally performed by designers, and they are visualizing their design ideas. They can get really creative, and they can amend it very quickly until they get to the desired look. But with the science, this is generally done by the technical team, and as I said, they are taking all the details of the pattern, all the fabric properties, the avatar measurements itself, and they're simulating it onto it to show the true reality of the fit so they can confidently digitize their prototyping on the software. So at a very high level, the main difference between the two 3D use cases is the one you are looking to create more of a design sample and the other more of a development sample. So visualizing versus constructing. And you could think of a design sample as a 3D version of a design sketch, whereas a development sample is more of a 3D version of an actual fitting session with the fit model and the garment, the prototype you are fitting. So when it comes to 3D design, it is required that you always start with 2D patterns. This allows you to create the total 3D garment. Now, this does mean that all 3D products on the market do, in theory, have both 2D and 3D. However, they can still only be built to focus on the design or the development. So a design-led solution will focus on providing a plethora of design features where it allows the designer to make fast adjustments and quickly visualize their design idea. However, from a 2D point of view, they tend to not always be technically accurate patterns, and therefore it is not showing you the true reality of the fit. And of course, then they wouldn't be able to be used for production. So this is where development focused 3D products such as Optitex come into play. So yes, we do have design capacities, but where we focus is in the fact that our 3D is based on a technically accurate and highly feature-rich 2D software that has been in the making for over 3 decades now. So our users are able to confidently use the solution, knowing that they are seeing the true reality of the garment and therefore being to digitalize their prototyping onto the software. So which 3D is right for you? To answer this, you have to ask yourself 2 questions. First one being, at what stage of the product lifecycle are you managing in-house versus outsource? And what are your actual 3D objectives? So if you have your design team in-house and your objectives are that you want to increase your creativity and your design output, you're going to gain a tremendous amount of value from a more design-focused solution. Now, if you have your technical team in-house and your objectives are that you want to digitalize your prototyping so you can reduce physical samples, increase your speed to market, and have a massive impact on your sustainability efforts, then you're definitely going to be leaning to more of a development-focused solution. And now many of you are probably saying, well, James, I actually fall into both those categories. And then the question for you is, which do you start with? And there's a number of factors to look at here. I'm going to discuss 2. The first one being the risk of a design bottleneck. So if you are manually performing both your design and your development, then the different departments are going to align with their workload capacities and there's going to be no disruption. But if you had to implement a 3D design focused solution first before setting up a development foundation, before setting up a development focused 3D foundation, you run the risk of your development, you won't be able to develop the designs at the same rate at which they are now coming through, which, as I said, can cause a bit of a design bottleneck. And the other thing to take into account is that if you are intending on your 3D designs to be used all the way through to production, it is absolutely essential that you start the process with a 2D solution that enables you to create and manipulate technically accurate patterns. Now, in previous years, due to the hype and allure of the visual side of 3D, a lot of the brands and retailers have chosen to start with a more design-led solution, and have requested that their manufacturers do the same. And this has led to varying degrees of success, considering the fact that the patterns aren't always technically accurate. This means that the manufacturers are still having to create the physical samples in many cases from a fitting perspective, but now also having to create the 3D design sample. So it's doubling their workload as opposed to halving it. So this is now kind of flipped. And in many cases, the suppliers are requesting the brands and retailers to adopt a bit more of a technically led solution. And as I said, Optitex does cover both the design and the development, but we are highly respected and recognized in the market as being the industry leaders with regards to fit accuracy and production ready patterns. And considering that, I now want to quickly run you through a few of our solutions. Starting with PDS, this consists of our standalone 2D pattern cutting and grading software, which when combined with our 3D, you can develop and manipulate your technically accurate patterns and visualize the true to fit design on the 3D avatar. Now, this highly increases your prototyping capacity, as instead of having to wait the lead time for every time you want to see a sample, you can simply click save and you can see the sample right there in front of you. Now, to be clear, we are not trying to eliminate physical samples here. We are merely trying to reduce them. And, in many cases, our customers would give us the expectation that they would achieve a minimum of a 50% reduction in their samples per style. And to further emphasize the fit accuracy of PDS, here we have one of our military suppliers who specialize in body armor. And we have created an avatar here where we are highlighting the essential organs of the body. So when they perform their digital fitting, they are able to ensure that all those organs are safely covered by the vest. This really just a true reflection of the faith and confidence our customers and users have in the fit accuracy of PDS. So next up is OCloud. OCloud is our virtual fitting room and storage facility where all the data from PDS can be imported into one space, and for each garment it creates a virtual fitting room. So now all your internal and external stakeholders can now come on, review the product, make the revisions the same way they would in any real life fit session. And this really is the tool that allows you to spread the value of 3D, breaking it out of just the technical team and spreading it across the entire product development process. And last but very much not least, our nesting tool, which ensures our customers are getting the highest possible efficiency from their materials. Now, this, of course, is not 3D, but it's just, again, to highlight the fact that all of our patterns are technically accurate and suitable all the way from the start all the way to production. So that's it from me. I hope you found that useful. Once again, my name is James McDermott. If you would like to learn more, see cool things like the animations you're seeing in front of you now, please feel free to reach out via the email on screen. You can get in touch with us via the website. But yeah, that's it from me. Thank you very much for listening. Thanks for having me. Enjoy the rest of the event, and bye for now.
Thank you so much, James.